So, recently at some hacker convention, a person dressed up as the Pink Ranger from Power Rangers and going by the likely pseudonym of Martha Root hacked an alleged white supremacy dating site and exposed all of the information of everyone who used it. Here's the video, where you can see their actions are met with thunderous applause. First of all, pretty sure that's a serious crime being publicly committed there. Reminds me of those raves where totally naked women walk around outdoors in public surrounded by thousands of people and taking drugs, all while the cops stand all over the place in the background of all of the videos, watching but never actually doing anything, never arresting anyone, like crime is just legalized. But I digress. This is very indicative of the politosphere of today's Western world. This Martha Root is seen as a hero even before their deed is done, and even after it is, I know full well that the people cheering for what they did have absolutely no idea what these websites even were. But the fact that white was in them is enough for idiots to believe that they are automatically about white supremacy. Degenerates feasting on confirmation bias simply see the word white and know that something evil is afoot. They simply see the word white and believe that they are allowed to do whatever they want to make that word go away. You know that they didn't do any research to see what the website was about. They didn't look at the ads. They didn't read through the leaked bios. They didn't use their brains for an instant. They just cheered that the white people were being shut down. And if you were to question them on this, they would become indignant and accuse you of protecting white supremacists because guilt-tripping, blame-shifting, and pity-baiting are their only techniques. They are a Pokemon that you don't even care to see the final evolution of. You just leave it in storage forever. It's completely reasonable for white people to want to date white people. Likewise, it's reasonable for black people to want to marry black people. If you can meet someone from the other side of the world and have an interracial relationship and make it work, hey, that's great. But realistically speaking, relationships are not Disney stories. If someone was raised differently than you, they will do many tiny little things, like put dishes in the dishwasher the wrong way, which will eventually drive you insane. And the chances are higher that someone who will be raised differently than you will come from a different ethnicity or a different religion or a different country and so forth. Every honest person knows this. Everyone has lived with someone else whose habits irritated them. There's a comedic skit someone made where a bizarro version of ICE is looking for an African American inside of a white woman's home, and the agent keeps noticing all of these suspicious things, like, for instance, her owning spices, because white people are boring and eat bland food, right? Well, here's the thing. I'm white, and both of my sister's families are vegan, whereas the other side of the family is definitely not vegan. Meanwhile, my mother is so squeamish that even hearing words like veal or sushi makes her audibly repulsed, and my stepfather won't eat anything that isn't identical to what his mother cooked, which is cuisine from the Midwest of 1950. In other words, meatloaf, pizza, and hamburgers, really. I can't imagine being married to any of them, and yet every single one of them is married. I'm the proverbial black sheep of the family in many ways, but the point is that the little things matter, and if someone is like you, then there will be less little things to break up the relationship. Now, I appreciate the comedic value of this skit and personally thought it was hilarious, but the fact is there is some truth to it. Call it pattern recognition or whatever we will, but people look for those who are like them for various reasons, and least of which is not love. And unlike the day-to-day life where this social filtration system leads to the formation of enclaves, which ultimately are kind of a negative thing for our society, I think it's perfectly reasonable for people to be allowed to choose whom they want to marry without being called a supremacist. There are doubtlessly plenty of people on race-based dating sites who are not racist at all. Disagree? Then riddle me this. Why hasn't Martha taken down any of the other dating sites made for other races?
People meet for lots of reasons at blackpeoplemeet.com.
We decided to meet for coffee.
America's #1 dating site for black singles.
We decided to meet for a walk.
Sign up now and look for free.
We decided to meet just to meet.
That's a commercial from decades ago, Martha. Why haven't you taken down Black People Meet? Oh, and the company that owns it also owns many other hyper specific dating sites, be it for religion, profession, hobbies, or ethnicity. And actually, this one company owns many dating sites explicitly for black people. This is a list of dating services owned exclusively by the Match Group. There's other ones, surely, but this is just the Match Group. And they have loads of things. Asian people meet, Italian people meet, etc., etc. But they have black Christian people meet, right? Black People Meet, established in 2002, I believe. Black Professional People Meet, BLK, which is also black people. They here at the bottom they have Senior Black People Meet, which is one word, probably a wiki error. And where's the white people on here? Republican People Meet. That's like almost white, but not really. Now I'm not saying that Match Group needs to own it. It would it'd be dangerous for a corporation to risk having a white dating site, wouldn't it? Clearly, I mean, you'll just have random people attack you and claim themselves as a hero and be proclaimed as a hero for doing it. So, as a company, as a corporation, it would be dangerous to risk that. But why aren't you attacking them, Martha? Why, Martha? Why just the one about white people? I don't want to pin all the Democrats' words on you and turn you into some sort of boogeyman or woman. But considering these are your actions, you are responsible to answer them, don't you think? Only a great fool would suggest that every single person who used white date was a white extremist. Their advertisements, from what I've seen, were ambiguous. For example, a picture of two white people facing in the same direction and the text reading that sometimes love also requires looking in the same direction. You could very easily and in complete totality make the exact same advertisement about two Jewish people and no one would bat an eyelash at it, right? Again, only a fool would say that everyone on White Date was an extremist, and only a fool would claim that there are no racial extremists using Black People Meet or something similar. If you made such a claim, then you could apply it to any website you disagreed with, couldn't you? And that's exactly how an extremist thinks. So then why, Martha? Why did you target the white websites? You know that if you took down a black dating site, you'd be seen as a villain by the left, and the right wouldn't give a damn. Taking down a white dating site, however, makes you the hero to the left, and the right, if they get angry, which they probably won't, if the right does get angry, then the left can use it as proof that the right-wingers are all white supremacists. So, why should I believe that your purpose was heroic? Why should anyone cheer for the illicit deeds of an anonymous person acting in their own self-interest, which are likely to be of a political fashion? Why cheer for someone committing a crime and endangering people's lives for the sake of pushing politics? The answer's simple. Because modern politics has created a ton of hate-filled extremists, and they idolize Martha for doing what they can only dream of doing, attacking people they hate and getting away with it. All of the sites writing articles on this refer to Martha Root as a security researcher or an investigative journalist. Sorry, am I missing something? They hacked the dating website and exposed everyone's profiles, right? They leaked data that could put the users' lives in danger, right? That's super illegal, right? And word any other skin color people would say this is objectively evil, right? Yet, the sites offer very little to even verify the claim that White Date is a supremacist website, and one in particular showed a White Date's, well, presumably it's a White Date user bio, quote, "My name is Joseph. I'm a 29-year-old Special Forces veteran who has a passion for cooking, health and fitness, and philosophy. I'm currently looking for land to homestead on. I'm currently an automotive engineer, and my favorite part of my job is restoring old trucks, which is something I look forward to teaching my children. I'm a Christian and also enjoy the mystic/esoteric aspects of my faith. I am somewhat of a trad hippie. I want lots of children and a wife who will help me homeschool them. I am looking for marriage and take relationships seriously, but am extremely romantic and lighthearted. I want a best friend as much as a lover and someone to lead and take care of. I am very emotionally mature and compassionate and have an endless well of love to give." So what makes them a white supremacist here? They want someone to lead and take care of, and that makes them a white supremacist. I mean, you could argue that might make them misogynistic or something, although that really just makes them a traditionalist and religious traditionalist. It doesn't make them a white supremacist, though, does it? I mean, they're looking for a white wife, right? They're not looking for a black wife to keep as like a pet or something, right? Am I missing something? How does this make them a white supremacist? It just makes them hyper traditional Christian, like to the point of being a stereotype, but does it make them a racist? Does it make them a white supremacist? No, it makes them someone with very traditional standard white people values looking for a white person. And again, these are the quotes these websites are using to prove that this is like these aren't picked by me. This is taken from the websites putting out articles on this. The one that I'll use later on is taken directly from Martha Root's video that they themselves uploaded. This isn't stuff that I'm cherry picking. It's stuff that they're cherry picking, and well, their cherry picked quotes aren't really white supremacists to begin with. I mean, you wouldn't think a black person on a black dating website would be a black supremacist merely because they had an interest in African tribal history, would you? It's reasonable. So why is it evil for white people to have a white dating website? Why is everyone calling Martha a researcher for doing this? What would they be calling them if they knew their skin color? What would they be calling them if they knew their gender? What would they be calling them if they took down black people meat? What would they be calling Martha if they weren't hiding behind a mask? Prisoner, most likely, assuming the cops get to them first, because after willingly doxing people for their own personal agenda, they likely wouldn't last long if they hadn't have hid themselves behind the mask of anonymity. Funny, too, isn't it? Antifa hides behind gas masks, their hacktivists hide behind the mask of a pointedly fictional superhero, and yet they, left, can't stop talking about how government agents are cowards for wearing masks, the same government agents that they call white supremacists with every breath. Yet all of these sites question absolutely nothing, least of all the person in the mask. They engage willingly and fully in the narrative that Martha is a heroine saving the world from white people, and categorizing all white people as evil is now common practice, even by white politicians. Democrats idolizing criminals is a growing theme lately. As Democrats are being radicalized more and more to extremist ideology, they see it more and more impossible for them to do any wrong, for their idols to do any wrong. They idolize Luigi Mangione, they threaten ICE and cops constantly, they wish the Trump sniper had hit, they show jubilation that the Kirk sniper had hit. They even call for the death of influencers, simply for being on the wrong side of history, as they put it, one of their countless pathetic attempts to threaten people into obeying their commands. And they do all of this without anonymity, for that matter, and yet most of them are never persecuted. They are instead elevated publicly as heroes, resulting in the echo chamber becoming even louder. Anyone who believes every user of this website was a racist is undoubtedly an extremist, and therefore they are likely a racist themselves. Their attacking of only white dating sites and the tolerance of sites for black, brown, yellow, and red people is highly suggestive of this, that they are social justice warriors who need a monster to slay. So they vilify the most acceptable demographics, whites, and they draw their swords and march to war. There are people trained by the Democrats to believe that all white people are cartoonishly evil, and therefore that it's okay to hate them with bias and without basis. This makes them no different than the supremacists they claim to fight. No different at all. Do you disagree? But imagine for a moment how the Democrats would react if Obama announced he was running for president in 2028. They would hesitate for a moment before saying it's totally okay for Obama to be elected for a third term, because F Trump. That's all the vindication they need. It's exactly what they did when Biden broke his promise about not abusing the presidential pardon. They said, quote, that's not right. I don't even think the pardon should exist, but, then again, F Trump. You probably think this is hyperbolic, but there are threads dating back to Trump's first comments about third terms where people suggested Obama running. And at the time, I think they were convinced that Trump couldn't do it. It was against the Constitution and so forth. But I'd bet they're warming up to that idea right about now. They call Republicans the absolute worst, and then they justify themselves. They justify their copying of the Republicans so quickly by saying F Trump, like it's some sort of magical spell that allows them to break the rules, all while stating it's actually MAGA's fault, which is exactly what they said the Republicans are doing. They each blame each other, and the worrying problem is that they're both correct. The White House just launched a new website stating the Democrats staged the real insurrection by legalizing Biden's allegedly cheated win. Now, Trump has always said Biden cheated, and the Democrats have always said that Trump cheated. It's not even a metaphorical echo chamber. It's a very real, very literal echo chamber. This extremism has created a scenario of he said, she said on a presidential level, but none of the civilians have a damn clue because we're powerless. The only thing a civilian can do, and this is my advice, is mind their tongue when there's no clear answer, and to not mistake their agendas, their personal agendas, as a proof of something. If every citizen, when unsure, kept their traps shut, then the only thing you would ever hear is the words of a politician and CEOs echoing across still air, far and wide, unperturbed by the raucous of social media, ringing loudly for all to hear and judge with the purest intent possible. Instead, this is what you hear. This is an old video, according to the comments, and it has no audible racist commentary in it at all. None that I could discern. But look at the thread title. Look at the upvotes. Look at the comments. In only 12 hours since it was posted. Not only does it falsely push an anti-white narrative, it also pushes an anti-male narrative and insults his height on top of that, which people in the comments are actually doubling down on. This is your brain on social media. So congratulations on stopping white supremacy, Martha. I'm sure some of them were white supremacists, but if any of them weren't, then you exposed innocent people looking for love to a mob of hateful, violent extremists looking to end their life. Even if every single one was a white supremacist, your actions emboldened democratic extremists into thinking they can do anything they want if they're angry enough, and that it's totally fine for them to do it. But this isn't some new thing. No. This is an old thing, actually, that's just coming back around again, like the old boomerang of it's fine to attack white people for free racism points. Yep, where whitepeoplemeet.com founders say their dating site is not racist. Their site was only 2 months old, and they came under fire for this because of the name. And the article from ABC News begins with niche dating sites such as christianmingle.com, ourtime.com, and blackpeoplemeet.com are helping users weed out their dating pools. But there is a new site that has many questioning how far preferences can go until they're considered offensive. Mind you, the last one on that list was blackpeoplemeet.com. But the new site, where whitepeoplemeet.com, is where it's too far. Totally fine for black people to breed. Not okay for white. That's offensive if white people breed. That's insane. The Sam and Jody Russell are the founders, and they say that their billboard is forced to be taken down. Everyone's calling them racist. And they actually had this idea while watching ads for places like blackpeoplemeet.com. And he turned to his wife and he said, why don't we make one ourselves? And they laughed it off, and she said, oh my gosh, they would crucify us. And then he said, no, really, why not? So they knew, she knew at least, the instant they came up with the idea, she knew that they would not be allowed to do it. That they would not be socially allowed to do it because they would be called racist for doing so. Anyway, you wouldn't want to be called racist. That makes you a bad person. If someone lies and accuses you of being a racist, so you're not allowed. As long as there's someone out there just accusing you of doing things, then you're not allowed. As long as there's a Martha Root out there willing to attack you, then you have to live in fear. Fear of even getting married to someone who's the same skin color as you, because that makes you a racist. That makes you a supremacist. It's absurd. You have Paul Brunson, who is a matchmaker for 7 years and runs his own agency, saying in his experience, quote, I can tell you without a doubt that race is the number one characteristic that people are looking for, or should I say that they are weeding out, or that there are weeding out. Weird. Anyway, There's a quote here by someone named Emma Tessler, the founder of the matchmaking service The Dating Ring, said the majority of her clients have a racial preference, and often that preference is to be matched with a white person. She goes on to quote, "It's so appalling because the implication of where white people meet is that these poor white people are having trouble meeting, which is not true. The world is our bleeping oyster," Tessler said. People still feel like it's okay to say, "I only want to date white people." I mean, you would never be able to say, "I only want to hire white people," right? It's an issue, she says, that goes beyond dating sites. "I think it's a systemic social problem," Tessler said, "and I'm not saying that it doesn't mean it's my responsibility to try and fix it. It is. It's my responsibility, and it's everyone's responsibility to try to fix this thing." And this is what's known as suicidal empathy, because Emma Tessler wants to wipe all white people off the face of the planet. She doesn't want white people to be alive, even though she sits there and says that it's their oyster. And it seems like it's her oyster as well. So she's a white person. She's a white person who runs a dating service, the Dating Ring, which she says has a racial preference, and people want to be matched with white people. And that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing that where white people meet exists. Are you serious? Lady, you're literally trying to kill yourself. Do you not understand that? From my point of view, no one would do something like this unless they were predisposed to actively look for white supremacists, undoubtedly spurred on by political rhetoric to see Nazis in their soup, and after you found at least one, you successfully gaslit yourself into thinking that you're a good person, and therefore all the people you hurt must certainly be deserving, that there couldn't be any civilians within the radius of the bomb blast because you wouldn't do such a thing, right? Well, I mentioned before the leaked bios, right? Surely Martha, or whatever they are, would have had access to all of these, right? Surely some of them showed no signs of white supremacy, right? Well, do you think they bothered to read all of them? Do you think they removed the ones that weren't white supremacists? Did they read any of them? Even the leaked bios I'm seeing, the ones that are used in Martha's own video, don't seem to be proof of white supremacy. Suggestive things, but nothing explicit. And in the middle, highlight in purple, you can see their age, 18. That's probably the youngest age listed, because that's not their actual age. It's difficult to read because of the wraparound, but at the bottom, they say that they're 16 years old, and they're still in high school, and they've made this account on this website, hoping that in 2 years, when they're an adult, they can find a woman who shares their ideals. So, I don't know if this is real or not, but this is included by Root in a video uploaded allegedly by them, whoever they are, if they're one person or if it's just a voice for a group, I don't know. But if this is real, it's uploaded by them in their video, and it would seem that they are doxing high schoolers and calling them Nazis whilst wearing a mask of a hero. But let's ignore that part, I guess. Their messaging here, it doesn't show anything hateful. It states that they want to have white children, European children. That does not mean that they're racist. Were you to argue that meant that they're racist, then you'd have to say the same of anyone regardless of skin color, right? That black people specifically looking for a black person is a racist. A brown person specifically looking for a brown person is a racist. A yellow person who wants to have yellow children is a racist, but you wouldn't say that. You can't say that because you'll be attacked for doing so, and you know it, so you'll never say it. Were you to argue that a genetic purist is a racist, then you must insist that the only way to not be a racist is to advocate for all ethnicities to combine in one massive genetic orgy. And you wouldn't say that either, because it would be the dumbest goddamn thing anyone's ever said ever. To insist that genetic purity is racist is to demand extinction, and in this case, the extinction of white people, one many seem to be in favor of.
Now more than ever, we're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here. Now more than ever.
Anyway, Thanks for watching.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.